All students have the right to a safe campus free from sexual violence. Students Active for Ending Rape, or SAFER, has been supporting student-led movements for sexual assault policy reform nationwide for over a decade. April was first nationally recognized as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in 2001 after two organizations, the Resource Sharing Project and the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, joined forces to officially recognize the prevalence of sexual violence and the work of the anti-violence movement. This year, we're asking you to transform awareness into activism during Sexual Assault Activism Month. Join a national student movement to take the sexual assault policy into your hands this April. You can start by taking the pledge at safercampus.org.
SAFER initiated a project in 2008 to publicly document the sexual assault policies of schools across the country. The green dots on this map represent the schools that were analyzed by SAFER staff.
In 2009, SAFER and V-Day partnered to launch the Campus Accountability Project, or CAP. The 64 red dots on this map represent activists nationwide participating in the first year of the Campus Accountability Project. CAP invites students to kickstart a campaign for policy reform by first doing the work of locating and analyzing your school's policy. It's a step-by-step checklist to find out what your school is or is not doing to prevent, reduce, and respond to sexual violence. On the one-year anniversary of the Campus Accountability Project, we launched the Winter Break Challenge, asking students to participate during their break and come back ready to build a movement. The blue dots on this map represent the 74 schools we heard from during December and January of this year. For the first time, we invite recent alumni in addition to all current students to participate in the Campus Accountability Project. Get a movement off the ground at your school by ensuring that the policy is in our public policies database. If you started your submission earlier this year, sign back in and finish it. We really count on you to let us know what's happening on the ground. If your school is in the database, read your school's entry and make sure it's up to date and accurate. You can submit new commentary if you think something needs to be added. All submissions to the Campus Accountability Project are anonymous.
During Sexual Assault Activism Month, SAFER encourages students, alumni, parents, faculty, and administrators to transform their awareness into activism by pledging concrete steps toward ending college sexual assault.
You can commit to at least one of the actions listed on our pledge page, including submitting your definition of accountability via video or visual media. We'll post it on our social media to share with activists nationwide.
My definition of accountability from a student leader perspective is to be able to go to my school with the policies that they've written and say, this happened, this was wrong, you have said you will take action.
When I think of accountability, I think of transparency.
When someone's accountable, they're answerable and transparent.
Really looking at what you've done and being willing to see that you've done wrong and wanting to rectify that, being willing to say you're sorry or acknowledging your faults and wanting to go forward and improve what you've done.
I recently heard someone say that justice to them is not just saying sorry, but doing sorry. I think that someone who's accountable does sorry.
Is ending gender violence and creating a culture that is safe for everyone.
I think about accountability as a verb. I think about it as a series of actions and not just things on paper. But it's really what's on paper that will guide those actions and make sure that everybody's on the same page from the minute that they step on that campus and become a member of that community. I think that's why policy is so powerful in holding a school accountable.
Changing policy makes schools accountable in a way that other things don't, because policy is really a statement from the administration about what their expectations are of the campus community as a whole.
It's something very tangible, right? It's words on paper that dictate the actions that are supposed to happen. And it's a tool for holding your school accountable. It's not the only tool that you'll have to use if you're really serious about holding your school accountable in ending sexual violence and responding to sexual violence when it happens. But it's something in our back pocket that we can really use as leverage as we build social justice movements in the places that are closest to us, our homes, our communities.
It's important not to limit ourselves to just students, but faculty, staff, random contractors that the university is working with. All of those people are held accountable to these policies, and this is the school saying, this is unacceptable, this is something that we will not have in our community.
accountability is something that everyone goes through in a time of their life. It might not be accountability for sexual assault, but I think people should draw the connections of things they hold themselves accountable to and to the ways that they can hold themselves accountable to sexual assault.
The idea of being able to hold a person or a system accountable, I think, comes from the idea that we're very intimately linked and ultimately we are responsible to and for each other. So even though the word is used really negatively, it's used to take people to task for not being accountable, I think that the fact that we expect more from each other is actually a really beautiful thing.
If you've already started the work of changing policy at your school, we want to hear about it. Connect with us and let us know the fierce changes you're making in your community to address sexual violence. Your stories, strategies, and materials will be used to inspire and strengthen other student-led movements for policy reform. And if you're just getting started, use Sexual Assault Activism Month this April as the catalyst to launch a campaign for sexual assault policy reform.
Don't do it alone. Reach out. This is totally a movement, and you can be a part of it.
There are people that are listening to you that are, maybe silently acknowledging it and learning and, agree with what you're saying.
I think that it's really important to do this work together because you're never the only person that cares.
So, don't give up, stand up, and, this movement needs you.
You have the power to change policy and shift the culture at your school. Start by taking the pledge for action during Sexual Assault Activism Month this April 2011.